Before we get into the details of the recent Qantas A380 incident, familiarize yourself with the compressor turning tool. To carry out the bore scope inspection of the compressors, it is necessary to manually rotate the compressor blades. Manual rotation of the compressor blades is done using a tool designated by the engine manufacturer. Normally, the turning tool goes through the stator and variable vanes from the inlet side and is pushed against the leading edges of the compressor blades, which turns the blades. What happened? Qantas Airlines A380 with registration VHOQI was inducted for a scheduled inspection planned for 3 days at Los Angeles on the 6th of December 2023. Part of the maintenance planned was a bore scope inspection of the left outboard engine. After maintenance, the aircraft had flown for 34 cycles and 294 hours and was inducted again into scheduled maintenance at Los Angeles on the 1st of January 2024. When they started the scheduled maintenance involving another bore scope inspection, a turning tool was discovered inside the left outboard engine near the outlet guide vane. How did the engineers leave the tool inside the engine? As we know from many investigations from the past, a single error does not crash an aircraft. Always there are chains of errors that cumulatively contribute to serious accidents and incidents. This is why breaking the chain is important. This incident was also caused by a chain of errors. Before we see the chain of errors that occurred, familiarize yourself with the tooling management procedure. In aviation, there is a strict requirement that all the tools drawn against a specific aircraft must be returned back to the tooling store before the aircraft is released to service or the certificate of release to service is signed. Now let's look at the sequence of events and chain of errors. 1. 3 engineers were assigned by the lead engineer to do a bore scope on the left outboard engine. 2. They were carrying out the inspection in which this turning tool was used. The only engineer who was aware of the bore scope procedure out of the 3 had to leave early for a medical appointment. 3. As soon as he left, the lead engineer called the other 2 engineers and assigned other maintenance tasks to them. When they asked the lead engineer whether he wanted them to return the tool to stores, he asked them to leave the tools on the engine as the work was not complete and the afternoon shift would continue. Error 1. The normal procedure would be to return the tool to the store and reissue it. 4. The afternoon shift continued the work and left the tool on the engine outlet as they believed the tool would be required later. Error 2. Since the tool was not issued against any of the afternoon shift engineers, they didn't take responsibility to return the tool. 5. On the same day evening, the daily tool report was sent which highlighted the turning tool as issued and not returned. 6. After seeing the report, the lead engineer asked one engineer to return the bore scope tools. By now it was dark and the engineer went to the engine and returned the tools used for the bore scope. He didn't use a torch. Error 3. Not following the correct inspection procedure. 7. Then the lead engineer went for the first inspection to check for FOD. He used a torch but did not detect the turning tool. 8. Then another lead engineer went to check the engine for the second independent inspection to check everything, but he didn't check the inlet. 9. Now another engineer who was finishing his shift became aware of the missing turning tool from the report. He contacted the first engineer, who went on a medical appointment, and got the information that the tool was still in use. Based on that, this engineer closing the shift informed stores that the tool was still being used. He didn't take any other action. Error 4. Lack of communication. All the above happened on day 1. On day 3, the aircraft was scheduled for a flight by night 22:35. The operations manager sent an email to the engineer who would sign the CRS highlighting the missing turning tool and asked him to initiate Qantas lost tool procedure. The engineer responded that the tool was missing since the first day and it couldn't remain fitted onto the engine. He went ahead and signed the CRS. Error 5. Not following the norms. The aircraft departed from Los Angeles to Melbourne. The engineer involved in the bore scope inspection returned after 3 days off and was informed about the missing turning tool. He searched through the engine stands and hangar area but couldn't locate the tool. On the 27th of December, a Qantas engineer from Australia requested tool store personnel to cancel the missing tool report as it was affecting the issuance of the CRS. Tool store personnel in Australia changed the status to ready to be issued and then asked the Los Angeles tool store to change the status to quarantined. After this, the aircraft flew from Melbourne to Los Angeles on the 11th of December, 19th of December and 28th of December, but the aircraft was not searched for the tool. After the above, on the 1st of January 2024, the aircraft was inducted into maintenance at Los Angeles, which included another borescope inspection of all 4 engines. When they carried out the inspection, engineers found the missing tool inside the engine forward of the outlet guide vane. The tool was found deformed due to high-energy airflow.